Welcome back to another deep dive into building better reading skills for the IELTS.
Yeah.
You know, one of the trickiest things about that reading section is just how much information is
Yeah.
packed into those passages.
Right.
It can feel really overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially for English as a foreign language learners.
Absolutely.
Today, we are going to unpack a sample passage, and I think it will really help you zero in on exactly how to find the answers you need.
That's right. We're not just going to tell you the answers.
Yeah.
We are going to show you exactly how to arrive at those answers.
Yeah.
Confidently every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
And the best part is,
Okay.
today's passage is all about studying abroad.
Ooh, fun.
Who doesn't love to daydream about packing their bags and heading off to a new adventure?
It's a fun way to learn, for sure.
Right.
So let's imagine you're thinking about studying in an English-speaking country.
Okay.
You open up the IELTS exam booklet,
Yeah.
and there it is. A reading passage about your options in 5 different places.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the clock is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure that we are finding the answers quickly and accurately?
First, take a deep breath.
Okay.
No need to panic.
Right.
This passage, titled Your Adventure Starts Where, is actually structured in a way that's designed to help you.
Good.
Each country, Australia, the UK, New Zealand, the USA, and Canada, gets its own little profile.
Okay.
Almost like a mini travel brochure
I love that.
for higher education.
Okay, so we can expect each profile to have its own distinct information about that country's educational system, culture, and lifestyle.
Exact.
So listen closely.
Your adventure starts where? An increasing number of students are thinking of going overseas to study for a degree. This week we focus on 5 English-speaking countries, examining what each has to offer and why you might choose to study there. With thousands of institutions and courses to choose from, how do you decide where to study as an international student? Do you dream of heading for the land of Uncle Sam, or would you feel more at home in Shakespeare's country? Perhaps the Australian outback will give you the space you need to work out the problems of the world. Whichever you choose, the adventure begins right here. Study in Australia. Free-spirited Australia has been open to migration for many years and is today one of the world's top 3 destinations for international students. Australia's renowned cultural diversity, its high level of public safety, and the vibrant atmosphere of its cities all help to make it easy for overseas visitors to feel at home. Academically speaking, most of the national, publicly funded universities are of similarly high standard. Moreover, Australian institutions have a particularly strong reputation for research into the environment and sports science. Study in the UK. Many students are attracted to Britain by its long history of literature, from Chaucer and Shakespeare to Bridget Jones and Harry Potter. Look beyond this, and you'll find a university system with one of the best reputations in the world. Universities in the UK have a record of achievement in business, law, the sciences, philosophy, linguistics, and many other fields. Some UK institutions offer a foundation course, usually 3 months or 1 year in length, to prepare international students before they go on to do a full undergraduate degree. Applying for one of these courses normally involves taking the IELTS exam. Study in New Zealand. With its vast and beautiful open spaces and friendly city centers, New Zealand is a country where you can enjoy both the great outdoors and the conveniences and dynamism of modern city life. Low living costs and a high standard of living also make life here very appealing. New Zealand's highly respected educational programs are based on the British system. A large part of a degree program is practical. This gives graduates both the knowledge and the skills they need when entering the workplace. Study in the USA. The population of the U.S. is made up of people from every continent, joined together by a shared language and a core set of values. Of these values, liberty and freedom are probably the most important, combined with individual responsibility. American students are therefore expected to think independently and to have responsibility for their own studies. Classes are often informal and students are encouraged to express their opinion. With 50 states offering a huge range of different types of institutions, from 2-year community college courses to 4-year undergraduate programs, deciding where to study in the U.S. may appear confusing, So it is important to do some research first. In Canada, surveys conducted by the United Nations have repeatedly found Canada to be among the top 3 places in the world to live in. In addition, Canada's largest cities, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, have been recognized as world-class cities in which to live and work, for their cleanliness and safety, and for their cultural activities and attractive lifestyles. A Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate is well regarded in business, government, and academic circles around the globe. Canada has 2 official languages, English and French. Studying and living in Canada could be your opportunity to learn both.
So let's look at the first set of questions, numbers 1 through 5.
Okay.
These are pretty straightforward question and answer types.
All right, so for each one, I'll read it out nice and clearly.
Yeah.
Then our expert will walk us through not only the correct answer, but exactly how we can find that answer in the passage.
We'll make sure you understand why it's the correct answer,
Yeah.
not just what it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Question 1. What type of university preparation course is available in the UK?
All right, for this one, the answer is a foundation course.
Okay.
Now, how do we find that?
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
straight to the paragraph about studying in the UK.
Okay.
Specifically in lines 4 and 5, it says, some UK institutions offer a foundation course, usually 3 months or 1 year in length, to prepare international students before they go on to do a full undergraduate degree.
Okay, so this question is really testing your scanning skills.
Exactly.
You see a question about the UK, you know exactly where to go in the passage,
Right.
and that you are scanning those lines for your keywords.
Yep.
In this case, university preparation.
Exactly. It's all about being efficient with your time.
Right.
Now let's take a look at question 2.
Okay.
On which education system are New Zealand programs founded?
All right, I'm scanning the New Zealand paragraph now.
Great, and you'll find the answer, the British system.
Okay.
Stated quite clearly in the 5th line of that paragraph.
Okay.
It says, New Zealand's highly respected educational programs are based on the British system. Sometimes the IELTS reading section is that straightforward.
So if we're looking for specific facts, sometimes the answer is just right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, question 3. Which 2 values are extremely important to Americans?
This one takes us to the USA section,
Okay.
and the answer is liberty and freedom.
Okay.
Now, you might be tempted to scan for the word Americans,
Yeah.
but look at how the question is phrased.
Right.
It's asking about values.
Okay.
So in the 2nd and 3rd lines of the USA paragraph, we see the sentence, of these values, liberty and freedom are probably the most important, combined with individual responsibility.
So the keywords in the question help us zero in on the right part of the passage.
Yes.
Okay.
Question 4. Which U.S. educational programs are 2 years in length?
All right, I'm back in the USA section.
Okay.
And the answer is community college courses.
Mm-hmm.
Found towards the end of the paragraph.
Yeah.
It says, from 2-year community college courses to 4-year undergraduate programs.
Right. So even though the answer is in there, you have to pay close attention to the details,
Yeah.
like the specific duration mentioned.
Got it. Okay, last one in this set. Question 5. Who concluded that Canada is one of the best countries in the world to live in?
This one's easy to find. It's right at the beginning of the Canada paragraph,
Okay.
first line. Surveys conducted by the United Nations have repeatedly found Canada to be among the top 3 places in the world to live in. The answer is the United Nations.
That makes sense. So it seems like location is key.
Mm-hmm.
The answers really do tend to follow the structure of the passage.
They really do.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to a different type of question, let's pause for a moment and just reflect on what we've learned so far.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the next set of questions.
Okay.
Numbers 6 through 10.
Right.
These are a bit different.
Okay.
It's a classification task where you have to match statements to specific countries based on the information in the passage.
Okay, so instead of directly answering a question, we're looking for which country each statement best describes.
Right. And a helpful tip here is to pay close attention to keywords in the statements.
Okay.
They'll often point you to the right section of the passage to focus your scanning.
Got it.
Okay.
Question 6 says, there is an enormous choice of colleges and universities to choose from.
Okay.
Which country does that describe?
This one refers to the United States.
Okay.
If you scan the U.S. paragraph,
Okay.
the last sentence mentions a huge range of different types of institutions.
Okay.
The question uses enormous choice, and the passage uses huge range.
Right.
They mean the same thing.
So it's not always about finding the exact words,
Right.
but recognizing synonyms and similar phrasing.
Exactly.
I like it.
Okay.
Question 7. Some universities are famous for courses in environmental studies. Which country fits this description?
That would be Australia.
Okay.
Remember how in the Australia section it mentioned a particularly strong reputation for research into the environment?
Yes. So, again, we don't have the exact wording,
Right.
famous for courses,
Mm-hmm.
but we can infer that reputation for research would likely lead to strong courses in that area.
Exactly. Let's look at question 8. It is well known for producing many famous authors. Which country are we talking about here?
Okay, famous authors, I think that has to be the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The passage mentions its long history of literature, from Chaucer and Shakespeare to Bridget Jones and Harry Potter.
You got it. That literary heritage definitely makes it stand out.
Yeah.
All right, on to question 9. Students should be able to think for themselves. Which country's education system emphasizes this?
Independent thinking. That sounds a lot like what the passage said about the U.S. Let me double check.
You're on the right track. The U.S. paragraph mentions that American students are therefore expected to think independently and to have responsibility for their own studies.
Okay, so that idea of individual responsibility and forging your own path really seems to be central to the American system. All right, last one in this set. Question 10. It is not a very expensive place to live in. Which country does that describe?
Think back to the New Zealand paragraph,
Okay.
where it said low living costs and a high standard of living.
Right, so affordability is definitely a draw for students considering New Zealand.
Exactly.
That makes the answer New Zealand.
Yes.
Awesome, we've made it through 2 sets of questions now.
And you're doing great. Notice how we're not just finding answers. We're starting to recognize patterns in how the IELTS reading section works. That's going to be incredibly helpful as you continue to practice now. Are you ready to tackle the true, false, not given format?
Bring it on. All right, those true, false, not given questions.
Yeah,
They can be a bit tricky.
they can be.
We need to figure out if the statement matches the passage, contradicts it, or if
Right.
the passage doesn't say anything about it at all.
Exactly. And it's important to not let your own knowledge
Right.
or assumptions influence your answers.
Yeah.
We have to stick to what's stated in the passage, no more, no less.
Got it. Okay. Question 11. Australia is a dangerous country. True, false, or not given?
This one's false.
Okay.
The Australia paragraph talks about its high level of public safety
Oh, so-
and how easy it is for visitors to feel at home.
Right.
That directly contradicts the statement.
Okay, so we're not just looking for a match. We're also looking for anything that might disagree with the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Question 12. Most state universities in Australia are of comparable quality. True, false, or not given?
This one is true.
Okay.
The passage specifically states that most of the national publicly funded universities are of similarly high standard.
Perfect. Question 13. A degree from a UK university is highly regarded. True, false, or not given?
This is also true.
Yep.
Remember how the passage mentioned the UK having a university system with one of the best reputations in the world?
Yeah.
That strongly implies a high regard for their degrees.
Okay. So we can infer some things as long as they're directly supported by the passage.
Right.
Question 14. The British education system has a large practical element. True, false, or not given?
This is not given.
Okay.
While the passage talks about the UK's strengths, it doesn't mention anything about the practical aspects of its education system.
Okay.
We can't make assumptions here,
Right.
even if we think it might be true.
All right, last one. Question 15. Canada has the top 3 universities in the world. True, false, or not given?
This one is also not given.
Okay.
The passage mentions Canada's great quality of life and educational institutions, but it never makes a claim about specific university rankings.
That makes sense. So we've really got to pay attention to the details and avoid jumping to conclusions.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share a quick tip
Okay.
that can really help you navigate these IELTS passages effectively.
Ooh, I love a good tip.
It's all about mastering 2 key techniques.
Right.
Skimming and scanning.
Okay.
Think of skimming as taking a quick flight over the passage to get the lay of the land. You're not reading every word, just focusing on headings, topic sentences, and keywords to get a sense of the overall structure and main ideas.
So it's like creating a mental map of the passage.
Exactly.
I like it. What about scanning?
Scanning is like using a searchlight.
Okay.
You have a specific piece of information in mind, a name, a date, a keyword,
Right.
and you're moving your eyes quickly over the text to find it.
Okay.
This is particularly useful for those question and answer type questions we tackled earlier.
That makes perfect sense. Instead of reading the entire passage word for word, we can use these techniques to strategically find the information we need. So let's test these skills out, shall we?
Absolutely. Here's an IELTS-style reading question based on the passage we just discussed. According to the passage, what are 2 advantages of studying in New Zealand?
All right, listeners, it's your turn to shine. Take a moment. Use your skimming and scanning skills and see if you can find those 2 advantages hidden in the New Zealand section. We'll be here when you're ready.
Don't worry if you don't find them right away. This is all about practice. The more you practice skimming and scanning, the more efficient and confident you'll become in navigating those IELTS reading passages.
Exactly. And we'd love to hear from you. Share your answers and your experiences with the IELTS reading section in the comments. What strategies have you found helpful? What challenges are you facing? Let's learn from each other.
Remember, practice is key. The more you familiarize yourself with different IELTS reading question types and apply these techniques, the more confident you'll become on test day.
So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge. Until next time, happy reading.